Now it's time for the big story. Mark Carney, former governor of the Bank of England and Bank of Canada, has been elected as Prime Minister of Canada, according to projections by CBC Radio Canada. His Liberal Party may not win an outright majority in Parliament. Carney's background in finance and calm demeanor helped him win, particularly in contrast to his opponent of the Conservative Party that was in the elections. The election was heavily influenced by Canada's relationship with President Trump, or lack of it, who sparked outrage with threats to annex Canada and impose tariffs. Well, this morning we want to be talking about the election results, and joining me at this time is Oral Buchanan, who is of CBC in Canada, and of course he is a journalist, and more than that, he's a Jamaican. Good morning to you, Oral. How are you doing today, my brother? Good to have you.
Good morning, Richie. Not too bad. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all, my brother. Good catching up with you right here, right now. The results are in pretty much, Oral, and I have to ask you right at the very start. People are talking about Mark Carney as a man without political experience. Do you think that will impact the way that he leads Canada now that he's going to be Prime Minister?
That's an interesting question. He doesn't have, as you mentioned, the political experience. First time being elected to the House of Commons. But he has held big portfolios in terms of leading the Bank of Canada and also leading the Bank of England. So he will have that financial background, and many see that as a stable hand to lead the country in a period in which you are staring down tariffs and you're also looking to secure the sovereignty of your country with the threats coming just south of the border from Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. There are two things that spring to mind when we looked at what was going on in the build-up to the elections. One was the resignation of Justin Trudeau, and the other is the matter of the falling apart of the relationship between Canada and the USA. In particular, the whole matter of Trump and the statements he has been making and the tariffs and so on. Do you think the way Carney handled those two situations helped him in any way?
I would say that Donald Trump was not on the ballot, but Donald Trump influenced everything on the ballot.
Okay.
If we go back, say, 4 or 5 months ago, the Conservatives were up by almost 25 percentage points. A huge lead. They were expected to at some point, some polls projected they would have won over 200 of the 343 seats in the House of Commons. Donald Trump gets elected, Donald Trump gets inaugurated, Donald Trump says tariffs on day one. Donald Trump says Canada should be the 51st state. And Justin Trudeau resigns. Mark Carney takes over. And there is a huge surge in popularity, surge in the polls for the Liberals. Now, they're still counting, so it's not sure if he's going to form a minority government or it will be a majority government. They're like 3 or 4 seats short of that. You need to get 172. Now they're leading or elected in 168. Mm-hmm. But when you look at what the Conservatives did, they got over 42% of the vote so far. Liberals are at 42%. So in a normal election, many of the experts are saying it would have been sufficient for the Conservative Party to have formed government. In a number of the ridings, Jamaica, we call them constituencies, they probably overperformed in areas where they were not expected to be even vibrant or contesting strongly. They did. So many things happened that made this election, the outcome of this election, a historic one. The leader of the opposition party, Pierre Poilievre, based on the numbers now, he's likely to lose his own riding.
Wow.
The leader of the New Democratic Party lost his riding, and he has effectively stepped down from the leadership of that party. So, like, on a night you have two party leaders effectively losing their seats.
Wow. How much do you know about the economic strategies that will be implemented under the new prime minister?
I think they'll spend time to formulate what they're going to do. Like the U.S. and the Canadian economy are very much interconnected, especially when it comes to auto. How you respond, but I mean, given the sheer size of the U.S. economy, on the campaign trail, Mark Carney said dollar for dollar tariffs may not be as beneficial to Canada, right? Because a smaller economy, you are more likely to be heavily impacted by that. They're likely to use more strategic measures to go after the red states, as they call them, the heavily Republican states, and probably target specific products, say bourbon or specific items that Canadians may be able to source elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And so if you put tariffs on those, the Canadian economy will not be as impacted. Building strong relations across the board with the different provincial leaders, as to say, okay, fine, what will be, say, a Team Canada approach, as the Liberals call it, to make sure that everyone is rallying behind the flag and provinces are not just making unilateral decisions. Mm-hmm. And so it's a unified force, one voice. But it'll be interesting to see exactly how they roll out their response and counter tariffs to the United States. Mm-hmm.
You made mention of the leader of the Conservative Party a while ago, the possibility of him losing his seat. What does this election result or loss really mean for the Conservative Party's future direction and even leadership?
All right, let's look back. The last two leaders they had in 2019, Andrew Scheer lost, he was replaced. Erin O'Toole lost in 2021, he was replaced. Pierre Poilievre took over in 2022, and many are wondering, will he be replaced as well? That would make three successive elections that they would have replaced the leader of the opposition party. But here's the dilemma, I think, for the Conservative Party. They contested strongly in areas that they wouldn't have normally. Over 41% or 42% of the vote as of now. You gained 20 plus seats in the election. That's a strong showing. Mm-hmm. But you also had a 25% lead going into the campaign. So I don't know. It will take some time for them to digest. How will he continue to operate when he won't have a seat in the House of Commons? That's going to be challenging. If he's not in the House of Commons and the Liberals do get the required votes to get a majority, that means that they are likely to serve a full term. Mm-hmm. Does the opposition have a leader who cannot debate in the House of Commons for 4 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are some interesting points you've made there, I tell you. So how do Canadians now celebrate? I mean, do they do what Jamaicans do, jump out in the streets and carry on, get on bad, or are they just very calm?
No, it was... So I went to a couple polling stations yesterday, and it was extremely quiet.
Oh, really?
It was extremely quiet. People just going. Marcus, over 7.3 million people voted in the advanced polling, right? Mm-hmm. So a huge number of people voted in that. But the polling stations were quiet. People walked in, they exercised their constitutional rights, and they walked out.
Okay, just like that.
Party. I put it this way, Richie. A number of schools were polling stations, and schools were still in session.
Oh.
So schools were operating like a normal school.
Really?
People will file in, go to the gymnasium, you mark your X and you leave.
Okay.
And the school is operating normally. And that's happening right across the country.
Okay. Wow. Oh, my goodness. I couldn't see that happening in Jamaica anytime soon. But that's an interesting observation. Well, it sounds like then within days we might see his installation, Mr. Carney, as Prime Minister then, eh?
Yes, it's not a matter of whether or not the Liberals have won. They will form government,
right?
Based on all the projection and the numbers so far. It's just whether or not that's going to be a minority government or a majority government. If it's a minority government, does that mean we have to go back to the polls later this year again or next year if the parties, if they can't find common ground to govern the country, right? Because if you can't push through your agenda, then it becomes a problem if there's a stalemate in the House. Because the New Democratic Party, who had formed a supply and confidence agreement with the Liberals to push their agenda after the 2021 election, they have lost 17 seats, over 17 seats, and they have lost party status. So they have likely, based on the count now, at most 7 seats in the House of Commons.
Wow. Oral, you've provided a lot of valuable, very important information, especially the morning after the elections in Canada. I want to thank you for the time you spent and the information you shared, and I wish you all the best over there in Canada. Thank you so very much, Oral. We look forward to talking with you again sometime soon.
Thank you very much, Richie.
All right.